Class of 2014. We are honored, the class of 1964, to be ahead of you in trail by some 50 years and serve as your sponsors. A tremendous opportunity for us. I'm joined by a bunch of my classmates, Dan Evans, our president, General Frank Giordano, who's got the class grandson with you, you know. Poor Matt, I've heard that enough, I know. We've got 53 sons and daughters, class of 1964, that have gone to a service academy, and uncountable others that were commissioned through OCS, ROTC, or that married into the Army. We're very proud of them. Tom Coleman, who's played a very big role coordinating the Class 64, the 50th year affiliation program. Bill Murdy, Joe Mastriani have done tremendous work with the Association of Graduates over the year. Mike Conway, who's the coordinator of our class's professional military ethics program with the Class of 2014. I thank all of you for joining us, and Dan in particular for your leadership in this whole endeavor. Your class leadership, Jeff Farabee, Rob Fetters, Steve Santon, Zach Taylor, Catherine Knapp, Jason McCursey, Warren Geary, and all of you in the class. We are delighted at the opportunity to watch you take your oath of affirmation. It's a big step in your life. Look, let me tell you a story, and I'm going to get the specific date. On Saturday, 12 May 1962, all of us in Class 64 sat in the cadet mess hall and listened to General Douglas MacArthur give his farewell speech to the Corps. We were too young at first to understand what was going on. This frail old man stood up to the podium with his quavering voice, talking without notes, and produced really a template for how officers can manage their own philosophy of life. It's a tremendous speech. If you don't have it, if you haven't read it, make sure it's something you incorporate into your reading. He was class of 1903, so as I stand here talking to class of 2014, having heard the words, the guidance of Douglas MacArthur, that's a 111-year span as we look at you. We know what enormous talent you brought to bear when you came. You know, the numbers are astonishing. 1,400 of you came in, 80 high school valedictorians, 250 plus class presidents, student body presidents, 1,200 varsity lettermen and women, 800 plus team captains, 800 plus National Honor Society. One number, I must admit, gave me a little concern. Average SAT scores, verbal 625, and quantitative 642, a lot higher. And I always caution people that have that kind of disparity. Some of you may have known Jim Ellis, retired as a 3-star general, first captain class of 62, taught in social sciences with me, Alabama boy, deep southern accent. When I reported in to teach as a captain, on arrival he said, "Barry, you're going to be our department personnel officer. You're charged with getting shiny captains, get them in Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bring them back up here to teach in Department of Social Sciences." Fine, Jim. Glad to do it. My screening tool were the graduate record exam scores, the same as a SATs, quantitative, verbal, 800 max. By the way, do you know your own SAT score? Bring it up in your mind right now, quantitative and verbal. The real one, not the one you've been telling your roommate for the last year and a half. So when I was recruiting captains and trying to sort them out, I'd be looking for an extremely high verbal score. Economics, comparative politics, national security studies. I'd probably be looking for a 740 verbal GRE score. Quantitative, you still need to be way up there. Let's say 680, because you'd had to do statistical analysis. I was going through the files one afternoon, and I get to Jim Ellis's, and I open it up. And there it is, quantitative 800, which you don't see very often. Verbal 309. And I walked into him in utter disbelief, said, "Jim, for God's sakes, how'd you end up teaching this department?" He said, "Barry, it's been a problem my entire life. I was the first one who knew the answer, and I couldn't tell nobody." So those of you who are majoring in physics and mechanical engineering, be humble. Almost 13,000 of you applied to be in this class. A little over a couple of thousand were found competitive, fully qualified. Around 1,400 of you walked in. There's a lot of differences. Class of 1964, 2014. In our class, your class is 253 women. There were no women in the class of 1964. Make no mistake about it, the Army is more powerful and competitive and professional because of women in our ranks. Under 25 are Hispanic in this class. I'm not sure we had a category that we monitored in 64. There were probably a couple of Hispanic cadets in the class. We had 2 African American cadets in the class of 64. One, Dave Ramsey, phenomenal athlete, killed in action, Air Force Cross, flying an F-4 Phantom over North Vietnam. The other one, Mr. Miller, Jim Miller, ended up with a PhD in nuclear physics, joined the Obama administration, Department of Energy. This is a tremendously different environment here. I might add that, and let me sort of continue this notion of a comparison of the classes. We graduated to an Army that was at peace and always would be. War was over. You'll never see it again. It was astonishing, 1964. A bunch of us were watching Vietnam and saying, God, it looks to me like that thing's going to go. But we graduated in an Army and we were wrapped up in combat for 7, 8 years straight. We graduated. Your class will exit during a period in which I hope, I pray to God, we have completed the preponderance of the withdrawal of combat forces from Afghanistan. But I say that to underscore, in the back of your mind, don't you dare think that you understand and can foresee where your career will take you, to include in the first 5 years that you're in uniform. You're going to join an Army that is hands down the most combat-hardened, effective fighting force we've ever had, as well as the other services. They're still going to want your leadership. The day you walk into that platoon, the first outfit you'll command, probably with another year's training, you'll find that they'll be glad you're there, number one, because of your character, and 2, because of where they understand you've been legitimized by 4 years at West Point and another year of training. You'll join an Army that hopefully will be at least momentarily at peace. But as I tell people, you'll get the call. Unexpectedly, in the middle of the night, there'll be telephonic notices going out, pulling you back in. You'll see an endless string of lights up in the sky from the United States Air Force coming in to pick you up and fly you into an adventure in some corner of the earth that you dimly have heard of. That's what you're being asked, prepared to do. The classes in front of you that have fought the decade-plus war on terror have suffered 56,000 killed and wounded. There's been a real war going on out there. Some of these infantry battalions, Marine, Army, Special Ops units, suffering 20–30% casualties during the deployment. That war is drawing to an end. It will be astonishing, the demands that will be made on you by surprise. What will it look like? Sooner or later, 2062, someone will be up here from this class talking to the class, 2064, talking to the class of 2066. For sure, one of you's up here 50 years from today. Where will your life have taken all of you? You'll find enormous bonds will have formed among you. They get stronger as the years go by. I took the numbers out of the class of 64 and tried to extrapolate them into your class. So here you sit, some of you are 18, some of you are 22, wondering what life has ahead. Probably in that 2064 session, there'll be 45 generals in the room, a couple of hundred or more full colonels, maybe 14 practicing physicians, 65 lawyers, 71 of you with doctorates of one form or another. More than half of you will have graduate degrees. And more than 280 of you will have Purple Hearts for wounds received in combat. Many of you will go on to run large enterprises in civilian life as CEOs. Others will be in the ministry. but one way or the other, the country, now there's 307 million of us, and you look at the Department of Defense, it's 2.4 million men and women in the Department of Defense. But I can assure you, as a lieutenant or a captain on the forward edge of the battle area, it's a lonely place. There aren't many of you out there. In the class of 1964, to all of you in the room, we're grateful for who you are and what you stand for. God bless.